In today's session, we're going to continue on the series on leadership and workforce alignment and engagement. And the engagement and alignment is a necessary condition to becoming a high-performing organization. This session is going to be on overcoming resistance to change, and we're going to focus on layer 1 resistance, which is disagreement on the problem. Last session, we talked about layer 0, which is why change, and there's not a problem. Today, we're going to say, okay, there is a problem, and we don't agree on what the problem is, so how do we overcome that layer of resistance? Our layers of resistance: layer 0, why change; layer 1, disagreement on the problem; layer 2, disagreement on the direction of the solution; layer 3, disagreement on the details of the solution; layer 4, disagreement on the negative ramifications; layer 5, disagreement on the details of the implementation; and layer 6, disagreement on the risk, or we call it unverbalized fear. These sessions, we're going to go through these 6 layers and talk about what are the techniques to overcome each of the layers, and then how do we get alignment, how do we get agreement on the actions that we should take, in which sequence to get that breakthrough improvement. Now, if we look at problem solving, one of the things to be a good problem solver is we need to be excellent in cause and effect thinking. So what is cause and effect thinking? It's understanding what's the effect we're working with and what's the action or cause that's creating that effect. So the effect is the outcome of some result or some action. What is the cause? Something that brings about that effect. What is the root cause? It's the initiating cause that leads to the effect. So what we want to do is we want to get to a root cause and put a countermeasure in place to eliminate that root cause. When we do that, we can eliminate the effects. Now, the technique that we use to do this is the current reality tree. So the current reality tree is a technique that Dr. Grorat developed through the thinking processes to demonstrate what is the interaction of all the problems and how do they relate to one another. So this diagram here on the right-hand side is an example of a current reality tree I did with a company that describes all their issues and then what's the cause of those issues. And of course, at the bottom of this tree is the core conflict that's preventing the company from breakthrough change. So the current reality tree defines the undesirable effects, usually within each functional area. So each functional area, we interview people, we talk about what are the issues, what are their frustrations, and then what we do is we map it out and we start to show how those problems are interrelated. So organization is made up of interrelated and interdependent processes. So in this case, we're looking at the interrelationships, which means what actions are taking in one function can cause negative or positive effects in another function. To get to the root cause, we need to do this analysis and understand, working backwards from the effects, what are the initiating causes that create the problem? Or what's the core conflict that is creating most of the undesirable effects? Now, the current reality tree identifies the connections or dependencies between perceived symptoms, the effect, and the root causes, the core conflict, or the root cause problem. Core problems are identified, prioritized, tackled well, multiple undesirable effects will disappear. So the one root cause creates multiple problems. Multiple problems create multiple effects. So one effect causes another effect, which causes another effect. So if we get to the root cause, eliminate that root cause, then most of the effects will become desired effects and not undesired effects. Leaders must then focus on solving the few core problems which would cause the biggest positive systematic changes. So when we look at cause and effect thinking, the current reality tree is a statement of underlying core problem and the symptoms that arise from it. It maps out the sequence of cause and effect from the core problem to the symptoms. Most of the symptoms arise from one core problem or core conflict. Removing the core problem will lead to removing the symptom as well. And then operational, working backwards from the apparent undesirable effects to the symptom to uncover or discover the underlying core cause. So I have an example of a cause and effect thinking from a current reality tree. And of course, we started with the undesirable effects, but this I'm going to start with the cause and then drive towards the undesirable effects. So at the bottom here, we have one of the conditions that's causing many of the undesirable effects. So One of the conditions is we must constantly strive to fight to reduce waste. So if we focus on waste reduction, then the outcome is we must ensure that all processes are highly efficient. So many of the wastes are focused on trying to eliminate the waste, which is keeping people highly efficient and highly utilized. So when we do that, there's pressure to make sure all resources are effectively utilized. And one of the ways to do that is to minimize the number of setups. If we perform more setups, that reduces resource utilization. So in order to reduce the number of setups, we pull jobs ahead and release work early, and we batch jobs together, and we pull future demand in to batch jobs to make the run size larger, minimizing the number of setups. But when we do that, we're producing items at the medium and long-term horizon at the expense of the short-term horizon. And then what happens is work in process increases. Now, when work in process increases, there's a whole bunch of issues that come out of that. Cash gets tied up, lead time increases, quality issues increase. And so these are the undesirable effects that we start to see. I didn't put this all in this example, but the higher level undesirable effects are the things I just talked about. To reduce the number of undesirable effects, we need to work down the tree, back to the root cause, and then underneath this constantly fighting to reduce waste is the core conflict. Now, if we can break that core conflict, all these undesirable effects go away. That's the power of cause and effect thinking and understanding the root cause, eliminating that root cause, and then creating the opportunity for breakthrough improvement. So that's our session for today. So the current reality tree is the technique to get agreement on the problem. We get agreement on the problem. We've overcome layer one of resistance, which opens the door for identifying where's the leverage point and how do we get breakthrough improvement by getting management attention focused on the critical issues. So that's our session for today. Thanks for joining. Connect with me on LinkedIn, visit our website, go to our YouTube channel where we have lots of videos on creating a high-performing organization and getting breakthrough improvement.